Hey MechWarriors, it's Manny. I'm near the end of the campaign and some of the missions are getting fairly difficult to solo, so I figured I'd show you how I was able to solo them and hopefully help out anyone who's struggling. The first one we're going to look at is Coordinated Effort, which is level 90 mission. It is the first one that appears outside of the star map. I'll show you the mech loadouts and pilots I assigned. I'll also give you my reasons for why I did what I did in certain points. Please keep in mind that this is not the best way, the right way, or the only way to complete this mission. This is just the way I did it. So if you have a different way, I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment down below. And before we begin, I'd like to mention that you can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/mediocrity, where I stream Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I always enjoy playing with viewers. So if you're looking for someone to drop with, or if you need help with this mission, you can hit me up on the Militia Discord server. The link is in the description below. For mechs, I went with 2 Stalker LRM boats and a Banshee for the AI pilots. I originally went with 3 Stalkers, but had trouble near the end of the mission because I was tanking all the enemy mechs and couldn't sustain that much damage. So I switched one of the Stalkers to a Banshee to help me tank. I like the Banshee for the AI because there are no weapons in the arms and the AI is always losing their arms. If you don't have Stalkers, you can use Catapults or Kentaros. They just need to have a lot of missile hardpoints, and they won't take much damage. But I'd be on the lookout for Stalkers because I think they're one of the best mechs for the AI, at least in my experience. Pilot's pretty simple. Just use the highest level pilots you have. Hopefully you have a couple that are almost maxed. But if you don't, go make sure your Stalker pilots have max avoidance and missile damage. I think they are most important stat for missile boats. My Banshee pilot was actually my highest leveled pilot at the time. I like to keep things simple for the AI because I feel it can only do one thing and one thing only. So I give them LRMs. No other weapons because if they have shorter range weapons, they will move in and then be out of LRM range. They will also take a ton of damage when they start face tanking everything. So both my Stalkers are only equipped with LRMs. I have a 3H variant and a 3F. I like the 3H a bit better because it has 2 large missile hardpoints and 2 medium, where the 3F only has 4 medium missile hardpoints. The AI doesn't fire very often, so I haven't seen them run out of ammo. But I still make sure they have at least 6 tons of LRM ammo and as many heat sinks as I can fit. I honestly haven't figured out how to get them to fire more often. So if you know how to get them to keep firing without overheating, please let me know in the comments below. The Banshee 3M comes with 2 PPCs, but I felt it just kept on overheating too often. So I switched out the PPCs for large lasers. I kept the 2 medium lasers and then threw on as many double heat sinks as I could. For my mech, I went with the Atlas 3D. The AC-20 was switched to a Gauss rifle because I wanted the range, and I put 2 LRM-10 streams on it. I upgraded the medium lasers to tier 4s and have 3 tons of Gauss and 2.5 tons of LRM ammo. I ended up running out of LRM ammo on the second to last dropship, so maybe I should have put in a few double heat sinks on the torso and a few singles in the arms so I could get maybe another 2 tons of LRM ammo. I'm not going to just play back the entire video at normal speed because it's fairly long, so I'm just going to cover what I feel are some of the more important points. The one thing I want you to remember as you go through this mission is try to engage everything at distance because it's a long mission, so you're going to take a lot of damage, and the sooner you can kill things far away, the less damage you're going to take. The first set of enemies you'll face are a bunch of Igors, so remember to always aim for the engines because it only takes a pair of medium lasers to take one out if you hit one of the engines. Once you deal with the Igors, there's only a few other ground vehicles to deal with and then you can keep moving on. Just make sure you do it from range. The first mech you'll deal with is an assassin, and he appears at the first base. He's by himself, so try to take it out as quickly as possible. Don't worry about using ammo, armor is much more important. Some people may disagree with this, but I always order my lance to shoot my target, and I feel it does get them to engage a bit quicker. I also make sure AI pilots focus on the mechs, and I try to deal with all the ground vehicles. There's a lot of walking during this mission, so listen for callouts by Rihanna. She will warn you when enemies are approaching, and this is especially important for the Helos and Igors. They can do a lot of damage quickly, so once you hear it, stop and start engaging the aircraft at range. After dealing with the Igors, you'll have to move to the next waypoint. You'll be facing two mechs this time. One is a rifleman, the other is a crab. The rifleman is back in the next base, and you can just take him out with missiles before he even gets into range. Do not go up to him, just keep firing rockets. I don't think he even shot once at me. My AI pilots actually took out the crab by themselves, and then we just cleaned up the vehicles. The next waypoint will give us two mechs, a Black Knight and a Wolverine. I let the Banshee walk in and do a bit of tanking while me and the Stalkers launch missiles to soften them up. Make sure the AIs are focused on one mech at a time. It's all about damage management. This is a long contract. You should also try to clean up as many vehicles as you can. Once that fight is finished, we have a bit of walking to do. Next encounter will start when you walk up the hill towards the satellite array. So knowing this, I order all my AI pilots to stay back, and I walk up to start the encounter. Once I hear Rihanna, I hightail it back to the Lance. There will be three mechs during this next encounter: a Cyclops, Kintaro, and a Phoenix Hawk. I like to kill a Cyclops first, but engage whichever mech is closest. Make sure your AIs are focused on the same target. It's also important at this point the Banshee's a bit beat up, so make sure he doesn't rush in. I actually order him back behind me every once in a while. Once you make it up the satellite array, you are almost done. You just have 3 waves to deal with, and then the contract complete. You now have to defend a bunch of buildings. The first wave will be all vehicles, ground and air. They will attack the north side of the base first, so I order my Lance to stay at the base's entrance while I walk around the back to start the encounter. Once I start the encounter, I head back into the north side to clean up the remaining vehicles. Missiles help out a lot on this part because you're so far away. Once all the vehicles are destroyed, the defend bar resets, and you now have to defend a big building in the back, the south side. A dropship comes in and drops a full Lance in the middle of the base, so I try to get my Lance to the northeast side of the base so that we're far enough away that we can pull one mech at a time. The 4 mechs are a Crab, Cicada, Hunchback, and an Assassin. At this point, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is to not worry about the building. Let them have at it. Instead, just tack one mech at a time. Pull him away, your entire Lance, just focus fire him, and then you move on to the next mech. This way you can save some of your armor because you still have another wave to go. The third and last dropship drops at the same place the first dropship came in. And since I finished the second round in the southeast corner, I ordered my lance back in that area. This is once again a full lance you must face, which consists of a Locust, Kintaro, Javelin, and Phoenix Class. No real big mechs, but you've already taken a beating at this point, so it's a tough one. Same as before, focus fire a single mech at a time. I got lucky and the Locust ran up, so we destroyed that first, followed by the Kintaro, who approached next. It was nice that they decided to attack one at a time, so make sure your AI pilots are not shooting the other mechs because it's much easier when they attack one at a time. Have them focus fire. That is all there is to it. Take your time and use range to your advantage. No one fight is very difficult, but because it's such a long mission and there are a ton of fights, the damage does add up, especially with all the vehicles. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear it, so please leave a comment. If you'd like to see more content like this, then smash that subscribe button. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mediocrity, where I stream Friday, Saturday, and Sundays starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Till next time, Mech Warriors, happy hunting.